Welcome back to Parental Alienation and Narcissism by J. Claude McDaniel. This program is to help you heal and navigate through the hardships associated with narcissistic alienation. Please like and subscribe.
Welcome to episode 22. My name is J. Claude McDaniel, author and victim of alienation. I share my experiences, education, and provide valuable information that I hope will help you navigate through your plight. This episode is opinion-based narrative for emotional resilience. Beyond the system. In Part A we'll discuss healing beyond the courtroom. Part B will be on becoming more than the battle. Healing beyond the courtroom. The courtroom was quiet. The legal filings had ended. The hearings were over. For the first time in years, there were no deadlines circled on the calendar. No attorney waiting for a return call. No custody conference looming on the horizon. The battle had ended, at least on paper. Yet inside, Alex discovered something unexpected. The conflict had left an echo. Some mornings he still woke with the uneasy feeling that another accusation was waiting. Another emergency. Another unexpected setback. Even peace felt unfamiliar. Years of living under constant stress had trained his mind to expect conflict. And that was when Alex realized one of the most important lessons of his journey. Winning a legal case doesn't automatically heal emotional wounds. Healing requires something entirely different. It begins by accepting what you've been through. For a long time, Alex believed he needed to stay strong every moment of every day. He tried to suppress disappointment, ignore grief, push aside exhaustion. Eventually he learned that emotional resilience isn't built by denying pain. It's built by acknowledging it honestly. There were mornings when sadness arrived before he even left the bed. There were days when anger quietly resurfaced without warning. There were moments when memories reopened old wounds. Rather than judging himself for those feelings, Alex began accepting them as part of recovery. He reminded himself that emotional pain isn't evidence of failure. It is evidence that something deeply important mattered. That he loved deeply. That he fought for his children. That he cared enough to hurt. That realization changed everything. Instead of asking, "Why do I still feel this way?" he began asking, "What can I do today to take care of myself?" The answer wasn't dramatic. It was found in small daily routines. A few quiet minutes each morning before looking at his phone. A walk through the neighborhood. Reading instead of endlessly revisiting painful memories. Writing down a few things he remained grateful for. Simple habits. Repeated consistently. Over time those routines became anchors. They didn't erase the pain. But they prevented the pain from controlling every day. Alex also learned that resilience isn't measured by never falling. It's measured by continuing to get back up. Again and again. Some days progress felt obvious. Other days it felt invisible. But every healthy choice became another step away from survival and toward healing. For the first time in many years, Alex wasn't simply enduring life. He was beginning to live it again. In the next part B of this episode, we'll talk about becoming more than the battle. Becoming more than the battle. As healing continued, Alex faced a question that many targeted parents eventually encounter. If I am no longer consumed by the conflict, who am I now? For years, so much of his identity had revolved around the legal process. The parent fighting for time. The parent defending against accusations. The parent trying to preserve relationships that seemed increasingly fragile. Those responsibilities had become part of who he believed he was. Now he needed to rediscover the person who existed beyond the conflict. He began thinking about the life he had lived before courtrooms and custody disputes. The interests he had set aside. The friendships that had quietly waited. The dreams postponed while every ounce of energy went toward protecting his children. One by one he welcomed those parts of his life back. He spent more time outdoors. He reconnected with people who brought peace instead of conflict. He explored interests that reminded him he was more than the hardships he had endured. Little by little, Alex understood something profound. He wasn't leaving his children behind. He was refusing to leave himself behind. He also realized that hope had changed. For years hope meant waiting. Waiting for a phone call. Waiting for reconciliation. Waiting for someone else to make the next move. Now hope became quieter. Healthier. He still loved his children deeply. He still believed that truth has a remarkable way of surviving. But he no longer placed his own life on hold while waiting for circumstances beyond his control. Instead, he built a life worth living today. If tomorrow brought reconciliation, his heart would remain open. If tomorrow brought silence, his life would still have meant. That balance gave him freedom. One evening, sitting quietly on a park bench as the sun slipped below the horizon, Alex reflected on how far he had come. There were no dramatic victories, no applause, no public recognition, only a quiet sense of peace. For the first time in many years, he realized he no longer measured success by courtroom outcomes. He measured it by something much deeper: his ability to remain kind, to remain hopeful, to remain true to his values. The conflict had changed him, but it had not defined him. The lesson from this episode is simple. Emotional resilience isn't about forgetting what happened. It isn't pretending the pain never existed. It is learning that painful chapters do not determine the ending of your story. You may still grieve. You may still experience difficult days. But you also have permission to laugh again, to build again, to trust again, to dream again. Because while alienation may interrupt part of your journey, it does not have the authority to write the final chapter. That chapter in life still belongs to you. And perhaps your most meaningful chapters are still waiting to be written. This ends episode 22 of my podcast. In episode 23, we'll get into handling false police reports and smears. Thank you for reviewing my podcast and listening to this episode. Please like, subscribe, and comment. It helps this valuable site to grow and spread sound child behaviors and alienation information. Sincere thanks, J. Claude McDaniel.